What I hold here is one of the harder to find English dubs of a Dingo Pictures movie. It's an EastWest dub, and it's not on an EastWest DVD.
Met der lopen, daar met de zus. We spelen op de bühne, und zwar als Musikus. Warum verflixt uns so kam uns das nicht gleich?
Looking at these two DVDs, you'd think they'd be of the same movie, but nah, that'd make things too easy. I picked up the EastWest DVD of the Bremen Town Musicians, expecting it to be the Dingo movie, but got surprised by instead being a creepy live-action version of the story from 1959. Well, not being the Dingo movie, it is originally from Germany, and it's one of those movies that's technically in color, but looks like it was colored by someone urinating on the film reel. However, it didn't always look this way, it's just that EastWest got what's probably one of the worst copies of this movie out there to put on their DVD.
Oh, you clumsy donkey! You...
So after this EastWest DVD turned out not to be the Dingo Pictures version, I thought maybe there wasn't actually an English version of the Dingo Pictures movie out there until I found out some of the French DVDs actually have English as a language selection. And the back of this DVD did have the Union Jack flag on there, indicating that it should have an English track. But of course, I have been fooled before as that German Animal Soccer World DVD said the same thing and then it didn't have an English track on there. I was also wary since this French DVD did have the same cover art as the EastWest DVD, which wasn't Dingo, so I had to hope that this wouldn't end up being a crappy live-action movie, instead would be another crappy Dingo movie. But despite sharing the same cover art with something that wasn't it, this French DVD was in fact the Dingo version of the Bremen Town Musicians. And speaking of reusing cover art, EastWest did that themselves by reusing the Jamie Little Pig cover for some old Three Little Pigs cartoon. Wait, I thought I said I didn't get live-action crap again. Instead, I got my precious garbage animation from Germany. What is this? Well, Dingo got creative, I guess you could call it, with a couple of their narrator sections and decided to go live action with it. So for the Bremen story, we have Georg Phelous, who is one of the regular German voice actors in the Dingo tunes, as the narrator. And in Camelot, another Dingo regular, and most importantly, the German voice of Wabu, Armin Drogad, is narrating as Merlin. But there we at least had the regular English Dingo voice actors.
Know who I am.
And here we of course have...
A few famous colleagues of mine. They are musicians in a city called Bremen.
Wow, seamless. That's so bad it's hard to believe it wasn't done as a joke. And yes, unenthusiastic Dutchman and his child are back.
Because he had nothing better to do.
At first, I have to do what I like to do best. Eating. Eating is what I like to do.
And this is by far the best EastWest dub. Why? Because they don't repeat a short loop of a Dingo track over the whole thing. It's just beautiful silence and a little bit of background noise while they're talking, and I will take it. Now, it is kind of odd though, we've got an EastWest dub on a different company's DVD. However, I am pretty sure that this company that put out a bunch of Dingo movies in France, FunKids, in the possessive form for some reason, had some kind of relation to EastWest, as they tended to use a lot of the same art assets for their covers. EastWest and FunKids could have been part of the same parent company, just named differently for these particular regions. So I believe either as part of the same entity or in cooperation, these companies very cheaply had these dubs produced for them, possibly in-house in one of their branches. Now, even though these covers use a lot of the same assets, I do find it kind of interesting that they've been modified slightly. So on the Wabu recreation of the child murderer scene cover, for some reason there's a little explosion behind the birds. And you'll notice on the Bremen cover that the art looks stretched compared to the French one, and en français, this cover is Sans the cat. The cat who, on the EastWest cover, they very lazily chopped off its head and slid it down a little so the title could fit. Horrendous dubs and super lazy picture edits, what didn't EastWest do? You can see on the back DVD cover how the cat was supposed to look. And by the way, if you ever wanted to hear an EastWest dub in another language, this DVD has you covered. It's the exact same people doing the French and of course the Dutch dubs on here.
Ik ga jullie nu een verhaal vertellen over een.
Wat heb jij hier te zoeken? Jij bent zeker verdwaald.
Gelukkig, er is dus toch iemand thuis.
Though unenthused dad apparently couldn't be bothered with the French Bremen dub.
Je vais vous raconter maintenant une histoire de quelques collègues connus à moi. Défichelez l'âne, le bec du coq.
Merci. Vous pouvez pas vous imaginer.
I thought first maybe he didn't want to regale the French audience with his mastery of their language like he did English, but he is on the French Waboo dub.
Wabo, excusez-moi, il faut que je rentre à 7 heures. S'il y a toujours un bol de lait pour moi devant la porte. Et elle boit fin tout.
Dommage.
And yes, the English track on here is the exact same one as the EastWest DVD. But while we're on the subject of French Waboo DVDs, Waboo is so cool in France, he got 2 dubs of his movie. They owed up his name on this one. Instead of just calling him the funny little animal, they dubbed him the King of the Forest. Well, it did on the cover anyway. On the title that they actually went to the effort to edit on this dub, he's just the mischievous raccoon. Oh, and speaking of effort, if you go to the German track on this DVD, they even fancied up the Waboo title on there as well. It's just so weird, really, that this exists. And you want to talk about looking nothing like the actual movie covers. This later French Waboo dub apparently came out in 2005 and was by RYM Musique. There's also a bumper on here of a crappy logo bouncing around a generic DVD bumper for kids play. But not in the possessive form, and it's way worse looking than the other logo. Are they the same kids play? I don't know, but what I do know is instead of starting partway into the German version of the song like on the EastWest DVD, here they actually went to the effort of making a new Waboo song. Yeah, really.
Voici Wabou, le raton laveur, pas méchant pour un sou, mais quel sacré farceur. Wabou, Wabou, pourtant tout le monde l'aime bien. Wabou, Wabou.
You see why I'm dumbfounded that this exists? That song almost sounds too good for a Dingo movie.
Ah oui, c'est le roi de l'aventure. Sacré Wabou.
Sakra Waboo indeed. Anyway, as you've probably guessed, the actual dub is slightly better than the dynamic Dutch duo.
Tu vois, Wabou, nous aussi, quand on veut, on peut t'attraper.
Oh, ce n'est pas grave, je n'ai pas eu de chance, voilà tout. Mais dis-moi, Charlie, tu as un peu de temps, là?
Wow, they actually tried. Amazing. Anyway, I should probably get to talking about the actual Bremen movie now, right? It's the German DVD. Why wouldn't I have that, right? But look, Waboo does appear in Bremen a couple of times, so totally justified! So the Town Musicians of Bremen is a fairy tale, and I don't think it's as widely known in English, but it is pretty popular in Germany. In the actual city of Bremen, there is a statue of the animal musicians from the tale. It's a rather odd tale where some animals kind of have a midlife crisis, so they team up to form a band and then end up stopping some bank robbers and steal their stolen money. They also stand on top of each other, which is something which is barely featured in this movie.
On the Lüneburger Heide, not far from Bremen, was a beautiful old mill. In the mill lived a donkey.
Oh, stupid donkeys.
Earlier,
Yes, earlier. It's hard to believe, but sometimes events occur earlier.
when he brought sacks with corn to the mill.
He brought sacks? With what? I barely know what to say to that. No wonder this dub was buried on a French DVD. Anyway, like most mills, it was converted into a theme park, so the donkey was kind of out of a job, but it at least had idiots around gawking at it like Aladdin and female Aladdin.
Look, a real donkey, people said.
Easy crowd, I guess.
The donkey had to stand right in front of the mill.
machen.
Oh, I guess unenthused Dutch dad couldn't make the donkey noise, so we had to cut back to the German track for that. Anyway, these live action segments are kinda extra ridiculous with this East-West dubbing, as Georg Phelous is clearly putting energy into his performance here. And it clashes so bad with the voice of the man barely keeping himself awake.
He is a donkey after all. No supermodel, that old donkey.
Oh, the donkey excitement is over. He's no supermodel.
But in the first place, the donkey wasn't an old donkey.
But in the first place, the donkey wasn't at all donkey. Are we sure this movie has an English dub?
And everybody wanted him to say, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Probably should have just stuck to using the original audio. Anyway, the stupid tourists annoy the donkey so much it runs away from its theme park home, which is hilarious to Janice. And then we just get a bunch of random dingo cameos like the Sinister Birds, Wooshel, Thudder, Sanic, Goldie, the Dingo Gophers, and most important of all, Waboo. Waboo doesn't have any lines in this movie though, so 0 out of 10. That's not what that means.
Who is gonna give me something to eat without working for it?
Oh, those damn donkeys are always looking for a free ride.
I know. I'm going to make music myself. Music is what I am.
You are music. Also, wouldn't that technically be working for it, you dummy?
Right. I'm going to Bremen and become a musician and a singer.
Wow, what a story. The donkey just decides to do this immediately out of nowhere. But luckily it kept a cello up its butt in case it ever realized it was really music the whole time. Also, if that's not a cello, I don't care.
Ihr glaubt doch nicht im Ernst, ich mach für euch den Depp, denn ich bin zwar ein Esel, doch noch lange kein Sepp.
You might recognize this German song if you haven't tried to completely scrub Animal Soccer World from your mind, as they reused this song there. Guess the Bremen town musicians were a one-hit wonder.
Werd berühmt und reich.
Doesn't sound bad at all.
Well, it sounded better than you do now, I'll give you that. Also, it was apparently hilarious because Dingo thinks everything is hilarious.
If I work on it a little bit more, then I'm going to be the best.
Like no one ever was.
Okay, let's go to Bremen.
At this point, the video starts getting choppy on the DVD, when of course, if you look at other versions of this movie, it's fine. So the EastWest / FunKid's dubber computer was apparently trying to put itself out of its misery.
No cocks, no cows, no tractor sounds, nothing.
You must be lost.
Thank God, there is someone home.
The early farm was very beautiful. That's not much left. It's not really a farm anymore. An alternative couple from Bremen bought it and are reconstructing it. That is nothing left.
Oh, and you feel like you are too much here or not?
Is this English anymore? Did I make up that this movie had an English track on it?
How you know?
Well, it happened to me too.
Started telling.
Well, that was super creepy. Not sure if that was just him reading a script direction or what.
Started telling. Earlier, I was a watchdog.
Oh, was this dialogue supposed to go over the dog, or does this guy really think he was a watchdog earlier? Yes, earlier.
Everybody respected me.
I doubt that.
Is there nothing you would like to do? Asked the donkey.
To hide.
Yes. Yes, I used to hide.
It's the quality control and mastery of their art that keeps me coming back to these.
I waited till they got out from the car and then...
So midway through, that unenthused Dutch dad realized he couldn't do the bark, so they piped in Georg Phelous' bark noise, but out of sync.
Dann hab ich gewartet, bis die aus dem Auto stiegen und dann...
If isn't there much more fun in a dog's home? Dog's home?
Dog's home? Dog's home. It's extra great having large parts of the story just narrated to us when the English dubbers are barely coherent. Ah, very good. The dog's singing voice is German Waboo's voice.
Please start.
Oh, we're please start the magic words to make drums appear out of nowhere. It's easy to be in a band when you can just make your instruments appear out of nowhere. Please start. 1, 2, 3, Bremen, 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 stupid Dingo Bremen, doo 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 Bremen, stupid Dingo Bremen. Please start, by which I mean start telling.
Ja, das war nicht schlecht.
Also ich finde, das klingt geil. Mit dem Lied machen wir bestimmt...
Lovely. Now they aren't even paying attention to when the songs have ended.
It's a long way to Bremen.
It sure is.
Suddenly, the dog smelled something. Poo, he said. I smell poo. Yes. And
Okay, wow. I'm glad something finally got this guy to emote a little, and of course it was talking about poo. Seriously, out of all the EastWest dubs, this is the one time we've really gotten something from this guy than the usual dead inside delivery, and it was because he broke a little over talking about poo. Wonderful.
where is poo? There must be a farm. And indeed, when they arrived, they saw it was a real farm.
I don't think so. This is just the stupid Janus pig farm again.
And there was a cock.
Dingo Pictures Town Musicians of Bremen. It's got plenty of poo and cock.
It was a real farm, and there was a big pile of poo.
These two can't stop laughing about poo. Come on, be professional. It's not funny. Poo.
And on there was a real cock.
But that's impossible.
More like a beta cock, am I right? Anyway, the rooster's had his mouth tied up because, you know, the classic tale of neighbors moving in behind the farm and being annoyed at the crowing, so a judge decreed when the rooster was allowed to crow. Oh, does that sound like something stupid I just made up?
The cock crows in the morning, and if he didn't want that, then he should not build a house next to the farm. He took his case to a judge. The judge decided that the cock could crow from 10 in the morning till 12 in the afternoon. Can't believe it. No cock can handle that.
Dingo's Bremen, more than a cock can handle.
Where is that man? I will bite him in his leg.
And I will kick against his head.
Ah, they're gonna commit murder. Sounds good.
The two of us, we are musicians.
And we don't need you cocking it up. Bye.
We are going to Bremen. And there we are gonna be rich and famous with our music.
Man, more people should just plan to be rich and famous. Seems so obvious.
Fill his stomach. The dog followed.
Smooth.
Exactually.
Ooh, you just got exceptionally. Anyway, this cock blows, so it sticks with the group.
Meow. Over here, it's cat music, like in Berlin harmonica.
Why are you whining then?
We do everybody at the camping have to have his own TV and CD player with him. And everybody at the same time. One, Marco Borsato, another one, Pavarotti, and another, techno. Helge Schneider.
I feel like knowledge is leaving my head the longer I listen to this. Am I still speaking English? Do I know what English is anymore?
Music means something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that Lucy cat still has a chunk missing out of her butt.
We are going to Bremen to be famous and earn a lot of money.
And if we are a trio, we can also be a quartet.
You're the best musicians. Meow.
That's my girlfriend. Really?
I can't find my damned hairbrush.
Never mind.
They had so much fun making music.
Yeah, music is probably the only thing to call that.
Most people didn't pay attention to it. They looked where the music came from.
At this point, I'd be surprised if they didn't leave flubs and retakes in.
And when they saw the donkey, the cat, the dog and the cock sing, the man said, "That's actually the band we're looking for."
You know that loose sound you're looking for? Well, listen to this. Musik ist unser Leben, Musik ist unsere Welt.
Punk, Pipper, Rock'n'Roll, wie es uns grad gefällt.
I've made a huge mistake.
It seems that the man and the woman were producers for Bremen.
The city just has producers for it?
And if you want to be famous in the music world, you have to make a record.
Luckily, of course, if you sing a song in the streets, record producers will just show up. So Mr. Crunchbone and evil-looking woman from Dingo Hercules are eager to sign random animals who've only now just sung their first song together as a full band.
Are we going to be MTV? But of course, we make sure you be on TV so much as you like.
I feel like this movie is going to give people unrealistic expectations. If anyone has actually ever watched it this far, and I'm pretty sure very few people have actually ever watched it in English. But as it turns out, Crunchbone and wife were trying to sign these guys to a bad contract. And speaking of Crunchbone, I'm pretty sure some bones must have crunched in order for the dog's leg to bend that way. Nah, seems perfectly normal.
The musician get only 10% of the profit.
Who gets the other 90%?
That's obvious.
No, you're gonna make our own record.
Outsmarted by people who can barely speak, I'm the worst.
Making a record all by themselves. Could they do that?
I don't know.
Right after the first curve, they saw a small house.
Look through the window.
Huh? There live robbers in this house. Real robbers.
Not very careful robbers if they leave their money and guns by an open window, and they have apparently put their wanted poster up. Clearly this robbery was just a cry for attention.
A lot of money. At least 100,000 euros.
Oh, euros. So apparently a story is taking place in at least 1999, which is when any region actually started using the euro. Which is kind of funny, as this movie originally came out in 1997, and of course, in the original German audio, Marks is the currency.
Mindestens 100,000 Mark.
But that does tell us that it was probably at least 1999 or even into the 2000s when these horrid EastWest dubs got made.
If we had that kind of money, we don't have to rent a studio. We can build one ourselves.
They looked at each other. The dog jumped on the donkey, the cat on the dog, and the cock flew on the cat.
I didn't realize when you made an animal tower they made a siren sound. Really learning something here.
There is the police! We are discovered, the robbers shouted, and they ran through the back door outside.
Really? We aren't even gonna see the robbers? Ugh, lazy, Dingo, lazy! The animal tower was originally how they scared the robbers away and stole their money, but they were supposed to think there's some kind of creature, not the police. And the robbers were supposed to come back during the night and get beaten and scared off by the Bremen town musicians again, but that's all cut. Also, originally in the story, the robbers were a bear, a lion, and a wolf. Dingo has assets for all of these they could have used, but apparently the real reason for the live-action narrator was they wanted to animate as little as possible and couldn't be bothered. The random laughing animals, that's important.
First they started to count the money. It was more than 100,000 euros. It was 200,000 euros.
Oh, good. I was worried the animals wouldn't get a large enough payday from their stolen loot.
Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! In Bremen, They bought everything they needed for their own studio.
I'm glad in this version the animals actually made it over to Bremen to start their music career. We know they're gonna make it big too, since they get called in for big events like animals arguing over a soccer ball.
We can stay and live here. It's near Bremen.
Well, might as well continue stealing while you're at it, I guess.
And we don't need stupid producer.
No, you just need a lot of stupid produce. Those cats and their carrots and cauliflower.
And we shall call ourselves the Bremer musicians.
That was such a stunning name, it apparently rendered everyone silent.
So they did. And they became famous.
And I lost my voice. I just don't care anymore. Unless Pooh is involved. Pooh! The movie closes out with the Bremen Town Musicians' big concert, which is just them playing in a black void with some circles and stars and stuff, but I suppose it's better than Invisible Robbers. Non-existent interrupting bear! And there you go, one of the rare English Dingo dubs. I hope it's all you ever wanted. No, it's not. Start telling. I didn't even get a line in this stupid movie. You start telling. We're all going to start telling. For Pooh!
I don't like this movie, doesn't too friendly. This bootleg is so fake, that toy is gonna break. Phelous, don't let me down, you need to be around. Grab that chocolate pizza, I live a life because I want. Phelous, so Phelous, bring on mortal comedy. Phelous, so Phelous, an animation movie. Phelous, so Phelous, what really is so fun? Phelous, so Phelous, what's your opinion about?
EastWest Dub. I might be done with those forever. Unless I cover this pile of crap.